really weird to talk to no Aaron. Okay. Hello. My name is Michelle. So hopefully you're here for the right session, Tech Tools in the Classroom 2.0. My name is Michelle Schallmo. I work in the Adult Education Department. I'm the Technology Coordinator. So in addition to providing professional development, I also teach 3 technology classes that we have specifically for our GED and ESL students. Mm-hmm. So today's objectives, we are going to learn what Quizlet is and why it's a useful tool, learn what Flipgrid is and the same, and then we'll become familiar with the different ways you can use Quizlet sets, which are like flashcard decks, as well as become familiar with grids, topics, and sparks, which are part of Flipgrid. So you should know what those are by the end of today. So before we get started into the PowerPoint, if you can take your phones out or your computer, it's fine. And go to Quizlet.live and enter in the 6-digit code. And Quizlet, this is one of the games. Quizlet it gives you flashcards or like vocabulary lists and allows you to create games and flashcard decks out of those lists. So we have 6 and 6, perfect. Basically, this is a game called Quizlet Live, and we're going to play just really quick. The way it works is you'll be split into groups. And it probably is going to make you move tables, but it's just the way it is. It kind of mixes up students to get them to meet new peers. And then once you get into your new group, each member in the group will have between 3 and 4 words on their cell phone. So you might have 3 words that are different than your 3 words that are different than your 3 words. But there will be a definition that pops up on your screen. You 3 have to figure out who has the correct word. Okay, so that's how this kind of works. The most correct answers in a row without getting any wrong wins. I believe it's 12. If you can get 12 correct in a row, then you win. All right, this is just basic trivia. I think it's like middle school trivia that I took, so it won't take forever.
Oh, wait a second. My phone turned off and it kicked me out. Is that what happens?
Did it?
Yeah, I lost the connection.
Yeah, because my phone turned off automatically and then it kicked me out. I'm sorry. 1 second. Okay. Oh. If your phone turns off, it kicks you out.
Oh, like the screen blacks out?
Yeah.
I think I'm just waiting on one more. Sorry. Everyone in? Okay. So we have the hedgehogs and the zebras. Hedgehogs, Scott, Courtney, and Angela. Do you guys want to come over here? And then the zebras on the other side. Oh, that's nice. Only 2 people had to move. All right, we'll go ahead and start the game. So on your phones, you'll have the question. And then, again, someone's going to have
You got it? Yeah.
No, I got it. It's something like the same. Wait, can I go back?
Oh.
What?
No, I have it.
Okay, I don't have,
Oh,
did not
I'm
take my
sorry,
choices.
I don't have this one.
You
It was like a llama or something. Camel. I don't
You
like
want to answer them that way? Did someone get it?
That one I have not. I know what the anniversary group is.
Oh,
Well,
What is the name? None of mine are named Sean.
Oh,
You
you got it.
I have Caitlin's for just allow kids. One, yeah.
It's not
Okay.
open.
All right.
I don't have, it seem to have the same.
You got it?
Same answers. I never get new.
Oh, Evolution.
Nice.
Pocahontas.
That's good.
They used to do this.
I had it last time.
It shrinks her.
Yeah.
I don't have it.
I'll try shrinks.
Yeah, very good.
No poison in it.
Yeah, that's,
That's me, Caitlin.
no, it's not, that's not the name of the poem. Yeah, it's named.
Yeah.
All right, we have winners. Congrats to the hedgehogs. So the winning team gets a prize.
All right.
I've got Quizlet shirts
Oh,
and a Flipgrid lanyard. So
All
I
right.
wanted to divvy that up.
no, because no,
I think I have a double X and a large there.
so is this a setup, which is a setup game that we can use in class for our purposes with different questions?
Yeah.
Free teacher.
So the way that you would work this is, well, actually, we'll go through it.
Maybe the-
Okay. So Quizlet, as you can see, you can use it for trivia. You can use it for vocab. And it's a website that teachers and students can use to create flashcards and gamify their lessons. The way that you sign up for Quizlet is by using Gmail, Facebook, or creating your own username and password. And then once you get signed up with Quizlet, you log in, and this is your home screen. So this is what your home screen looks like. On the left, it gives you a bunch of different settings in the menu. And then in the center, it'll show you the different sets or decks that you have created. And by that, I mean there'll be a list of vocabulary terms as well as vocabulary definitions, which I'll show you. Okay, under create, you could create a subject or chapter or unit. We'll call it Unit 2, vocabulary. And you can enter a term. They don't have a term off the top of their head. Gravity, there we go. So if you click gravity, it's actually really nice because it offers you some definitions that are already pre-created.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can choose between those, so it speeds up the process on your end. And once you make this deck, it's yours for the end of time. So you can use it every semester here on out. You don't have to recreate this. The nice thing about Quizlet, another nice thing about it is that you can search for decks that are already created. So if you're looking for parts of the body, it'll actually come up with different ones that have already been created. The trivia that I just came up with, it's actually not mine. I took it from another teacher, which was actually really nice, helpful, didn't take too long to get. And then you can also add pictures. Here we go. If you add specific picture with like different icons here, it'll give you the term of the icon as well as the definition. So you can do this, the possibilities are really endless for something like this. And we also have flashcards, like regular old-fashioned flashcards that you can click, and that'll give you the definition on the other side. Also will, for our like English learners or even people who are practicing for like reading comprehension or vocabulary, it'll read it out loud for you. And then you can star flashcards if, for example, you get them wrong, or that's one that you know for a fact that you really need to practice. There's also opportunities for students to play individually. So if they want to go home and use these flashcards at home, they can start a match game and click on matches with the picture, or what matches with, if there were like multiple words and definitions, you can click the two that match. So it's like a memory game. You can also create tests on here for short answer as well as multiple choice. And then you as the teacher, as long as your students enroll in your class, you get to see how they're doing. So the way that I set up my study sets is I give my students my mfish3, which is my username, and then they can go ahead and find any study set that I've created. And then I'll say, go home and find the sushi one, and they'll go and do that. Clearly, I'm getting sushi tonight. I'm very hungry. All right. So in addition to creating sets, you can create quizzes. So what I did is I have a computer basics class, so it's for like English language learners who are in the lowest tier that we accept to our computer classes, so like level 4, which is very basic conversation. If you were to go into that class, they may not know, for example, what the clipboard is or what an objective is in a resume. So I use this to assist with the vocabulary, and they play all sorts of games individually, which is nice. So we have the computer lab downstairs. Any questions on this?
So about the logistics here, what are the steps? I go to Quizlet.com.
Correct.
And sign up for free.
Correct.
And then I can set up prepare any sets I want. And from there, if I want to do this with my class in the classroom, how does that work?
So,
what do I tell the students to do? What we did, how did you set it?
Yeah, so what I would do is I would log in. So and then in order to play that game that we played, in the center here, you can see there are different decks that I've created. So I chose a specific deck. And then choose live, which is the game that we played. So Quizlet Live is that one game that we just played. And then we would do the free game, create game. And then there's also the Quizlet app that students can get. And if they get the app, they can just scan the QR code instead of going to Quizlet.live. And then you need a minimum of 4 students to play. So that's how I would go about doing something like that. Other questions?
Is that the only one of those options that's good for like playing in the classroom? The other ones are better for like if they're at home, like wanting to study.
Yeah, the other ones
Because
are more
like matching and like stuff like that.
yeah, they're
Okay.
like single player game.
Okay.
And the teams, can you set up the teams? Can you have 3 or 4 teams or just 2 always?
It will automatically generate as many teams as, so the ideal number of students in a team is 4. So if there's 16, it will create 4 groups. Sometimes, if there's like 6, it'll do 4 on each person, so that'll wind up being 3 to a group. So I think 12 definitions total, and they split it between 3 or 4 people. Unfortunately, you cannot create your own groups, which I've tried. But it's nice because it does get students up and moving and to meet new people. So, yeah. All right. We're not done yet. We've got more. We have Flipgrid, which takes a little bit more time to explain, but it's so totally worth it once you start using it. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so Flipgrid is, how can I simplify this? It's like an application / software that you can use for your students to record themselves, and it's specifically for your class. So the recording doesn't go outside of the class. It doesn't go out in social media land. It's just for you and the peers of your students to see. So therefore, every student has a voice. It means if I have a math problem and I want to see the thought process of my students, they'll record themselves explaining how they solved the problem. So we're getting into that more higher order thinking and critical thinking skills. And students can do something called, or sorry, not students, teachers can do something called creating a grid. And a grid is a classroom for your students, or if you were doing professional development, it would be just like a place where all of your professional development would go. It's like a folder specific to whatever it is you're using it as. And then, you control the access to your grid, so whether or not it's public or private. And then you'll personalize it with a custom banner at the top, a title, a purpose, a flip code, an objective. Yes?
Public to everybody that's using Flipgrid or public to your classroom?
So if it's public, it's to everyone using Flipgrid. If it's non-public, it's only for your class.
Oh.
And usually that's what I keep my settings as, because I don't want everyone's videos flying up.
But individual members of the group can have access to one another's
Correct.
work. Okay.
Yeah, so like private is just for your classroom, so your individual students can see. You can also add topics. So topics are either questions, or maybe there's a theme or a challenge for your community, so for your classroom. In this case, there's a video that this teacher attached, so the students would watch the video, read the little prompt, and then have to respond with their answer into their phone. And then you choose the video, you moderate the videos. So let's say somebody came in and was doing something inappropriate or maybe didn't quite get it. You can delete the video or you can withhold the video. So it gives you that power to make sure that what's going into the class is beneficial. It also integrates well with a variety of things. So we have YouTube, Vimeo, Instagram, Dropbox, all of the Google applications, as well as Blackboard, which we use here.
So I got a question.
Yes.
Because Blackboard already has something like this already built into its functionality, how would this be different than using Blackboard? You can put in a video as the introduction to your discussion topic and then have the students discuss in real time on Blackboard. So how is this going to be different from that?
So the difference is it's a recording versus like the discussion, like.
So they're recording a video response?
Correct.
Okay.
Their response isn't a video.
Okay, instead of typing.
Correct.
Okay. So, okay, so
And it wouldn't.
I could see that being valuable in an online-only class where you're, not in person, but if you're in person, why wouldn't you have a discussion in real time? Why add that extra step of recording it?
Maybe it's something where you have a reading where your students have to go home and read it, and then right after the reading, they would reflect upon it.
Okay.
So it would be something that they would do at home, and then you as the teacher can look at the reflections, and then when you come back, it's kind of like, the classroom idea, where students bring home their work, and then in class you go over, or students do the work in class, and then they have to
Reflect upon it.
Yes, reflect upon it at home.
The other thing I'm thinking is, in a speech class, or I'm planning to do something
Presentation.
similar in ESL, there are
Mhm.
presentations which are graded. So it will be much easier for the class, because that's the practice in speech
Okay,
classes.
so that could be like
To
the
grade, look,
run of a.
to look at the recording and grade, rather than having to grade it live. If they're, particularly if they're ESL learners.
Mhm.
It takes probably a little more practice. So yeah, they would have some advantages.
You said you teach web design?
Yeah.
Like,
I teach web design here. I'm a full-time junior high teacher here in Dayton. So we use Quizlet, and other teachers use Flipgrid or have used Flipgrid. Yeah, so I'm familiar with both of these tools.
Okay.
I don't personally use them, but I
Perfect.
yeah.
Yeah, the application for Flipgrid in my computer class, for example, would be like, go home and explain to me how you would create a flyer. And they would have to like visual or vocalize the steps, which is again great because my students have presentations and they're not necessarily comfortable, so it gets them into the swing of things with talking.
I could see that for me, explaining procedures to patients, they could use this to explain it. I could see that very useful for my classroom.
Business aspect, what do you think?
I'm constantly pushing my students to do presentations because in the business world, sooner or later, you have to get up in front of a group and make a presentation. And so many of them are not very experienced at doing that and not comfortable doing it. So I frustrate the heck out of them by always making that a requirement of each semester in a nice, safe environment. But this would be even better because it's one of those things that improves with practice.
Right.
And for them to be able to practice on their phone in, again, a very safe environment, I think would be outstanding.
Yeah, at home I had one of the teachers in our department, so I do PD for our department specifically, and she wound up taking this and using this at Erie House, a nonprofit for English language learners, and they explained like what they did over Thanksgiving break, and their families got involved, and it became more than just an assignment. You can set the student video response length to up to 3 minutes, I believe. The free version, though, gives you 90 seconds. So, I mean, if you need longer than that, I would assume a presentation would be best, like in person. But just like a short, quick response, or even about 10 minutes is pretty good. Students can retake, so if they're not satisfied with what they've produced, they can redo it until they're ready and then submit it. And then they can also flip the camera. So if they wanted to do it in selfie mode, or if they wanted to put it on a stand and then get in front of the camera, they could do that as well. Or if they wanted to show something while they were doing the discussion, they can do that.
So by retake, do you mean that if I record, if I use a full 90 seconds, which is the complete session,
Mhm.
and I look at it and I decide, I don't like it, I can delete it and submit a new one.
Absolutely.
It's the student's control, not the teacher.
Right.
Okay.
There's also a teacher control aspect to it. So the student, before the student submits, they have the opportunity to redo it as many times. And then after they submit, you can say, hey, that wasn't your best, or we missed the point on that. And you can delete it and have them redo it again. The nice thing is students can actually also add attachments to their videos. So in reference to figure 1 on the attachment, this is what I believe. Or they can put hashtags so they can always find anything related to stocks, for example. Hashtag stocks, they'll look through their Flipgrid, and then anything that comes up with stocks will show up there as their videos.
So attachments, does it mean it could be a Word file, Excel file, anything, any file?
Any type of file, yeah. So like a PDF, Word document, an Excel file, I believe. And then the learning community is, so after students post their videos up here, they can go through and watch their peers. And then it's like social media in the sense that they can do cute little emojis and things like that. But more importantly, they can respond with another video to their peer, or they can type out a response. So it gives them the option to interact with their peers. So how do you use Flipgrid? For pre-K, K through 8, there's some options. I believe that this will be on the Blackboard site for this department, so you can grab this if you want to use some ideas from here. Weekly check-ins are great, especially because we have so many students, it's hard to know exactly what each one is thinking. So if over the weekend you just want to check what they're up to, or like how they've done throughout the week, you can do so. And then they have something called the Disco Library, which is the Discovery Library, and it has pre-created grids, or what's the word for this? Themes, I guess, and questions. So again, it works with Blackboard. If you're using Google Classroom, OneNote, WordPress, and PowerSchool. Obviously, our most important one would be Blackboard here. And then it also works on Macs or Android, so it's very versatile. It's free. It takes 2 minutes to sign up. So if we have some time at the end, I was thinking we could do something with it. But before we get into that, I'd just like to show you what a grid looks like. So for my students, I taught pharmacy tech math and middle school math and high school math. I taught them all. This is a word problem that's multiple choice, right? The students can go through, read this word problem, do the actual math, make notes while they're doing it, and then what I had was some of my colleagues explain their solution to the problem. So let me give you a minute to read this. Can you see it? We good? So here's
Okay, so the question is, if there are 39 grams in one 12-ounce can of a soft drink, how much sugar is in 6 12-ounce cans of the soft drink? So what you do is you multiply 6 times 39, which gives you 234 grams of sugar. That's a lot of sugar now. So we got to cut down on those cans. The correct answer is B, 234 grams.
So what I could do is I could use that was great as the first try. I'd like to know why you multiplied it by 6. Or I can use this as something called a spark. And a spark is you take a video that a student has done and you can put it in front of the class and say, what are some things that you see that are really great? Do you agree? Do you disagree? And let's go ahead and talk about that. Again, they would have to respond with the video.
I saw the grading rubric. Are you going to talk about it or what?
Yes. So you can put grades on here for simply for your students. They might have to do, so on like 0 to 5, this is just like the opportunity for you to give them a grade as to how well you thought they did.
Can you set up your own rubric or you know it all? Edit. Yeah. Okay.
So in edit, it doesn't give us that option.
Yeah.
It says it? No.
In actions, like
Allows you to download, spark the response.
okay.
Yeah. So it really just gives you ideas of performance and then an out of 5. For my students, I don't really use it as a grade. I use it more as a tool for a learning tool so they can go back and fix their whatever it is that they're saying. Okay. So that's just a quick example. As you can see, in this grid, there are 5 students. The student didn't participate, so therefore the student does not have anything showing up. I can see the date that they participated. I can give them the feedback out of 10 because there were those 2 categories out of 5. And then if you wanted to share this, there's something called a flip code. So the flip code on Flipgrid's app will go to a specific video or to a specific question. So it just depends on what it is that you're trying to show. If I wanted to show Denise's, this is the flip code for her video. So I tell everyone to go to this flip code and they would type it in the app and then Denise's video would show up. Again, technically this could, no, go ahead.
If you were private and that flip code went out, only with people within your group, right?
Right.
Can see the flip code.
Correct.
So someone outside of that group got flip code, would they be able to see it?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
I would think yes,
You think?
but you would have to know the code.
And this is my teacher desktop, so the students wouldn't necessarily have access to these codes.
Oh, okay.
It'd be
Only you have access to the code.
I have access and my student has access.
It'd be like a private video on YouTube. Only you and whoever you share the link with would have access. But that's not to stop somebody from else sharing the link with someone else.
Right.
Okay.
Right, yeah, I think that's how it works, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
So the share has nothing to do with giving out the flip code, or does it?
Yeah, so sharing would, sharing doesn't give the flip code, it gives like a different URL that can go to this response.
And that's something that anybody could use if you shared it with them.
Correct.
That's okay. So the content needs to be.
If you click on share again, see the HTML tag, the little blue box there? That, if you copy that, or if you click that, that would be something that you could embed, say, on your teacher page. Or if you had on your Blackboard shell, you could post everybody in the class's responses by copying that and pasting it into the editable environment inside of Blackboard. Do that.
Yeah, but it says share this response. So if I want.
You'd have to do it individually for every student if you want to do that. Yeah.
Right.
Or if, what if you had an example of, this is what I'm looking for, you could copy and paste that as an example of a good one.
No, I'm just thinking in terms of what are default and what doesn't have to be extra actively pursued.
Okay, so step by step, we'll go through how to create a grid. What version of Windows is this?
This looks like,
What version are they
actually
in?
looks like XP.
It does, doesn't it?
Windows 10 is the latest.
Okay, so like I was saying earlier, a grid is a classroom. So you can create a grid for your students by clicking Create New Grid after you've logged in as the teacher. And then you'll give the grid a name. It'll have a specific grid code. So this is how you get learners to access that specific class. And then you can put an objective or goals of the course under the grid purpose.
So the grid code comes up automatically, or?
It's pre-generated.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there's security and privacy, so you can password protect your grid. So in addition to already being super private, you can add another layer of protection by adding a password, but I don't know necessarily that it's any better than just having that specific code. Students can also get email notifications when new topics are created. And then you can allow students to download or not allow students to download their videos after a response. And then here, this might answer your question, actually. Allow users to share a grid, topic, or video on Twitter, Facebook, or Google Classroom. I guess it kind of answers your question, but kind of doesn't. Specifically, if they wanted to share it on Facebook, they could if you clicked allow that.
All that does is prevent a button from showing up in the share choices.
For Facebook, right?
Yeah, and you can still copy and paste the link and put it in the Facebook page if they wanted to. It's an extra step for them, but it could still be done.
And then we also have Captions, which is great for students who are English language learners. You can choose a background, and you can really customize this by choosing a background for your grid cover and or uploading your own. And once you create a grid, then you can create a topic, and the topic is like a specific question or theme. If you want some inspiration, there's the library here. So if we create the topic, you can go through, and after you've created your grid, you go into the grid, which is like your classroom, and click Create Topic, which allows you to go in here and then write a question. Tells you the video or time if you want 1 minute and 30 seconds, or 30 seconds, or 60 seconds. Again, the free version goes up to 90 seconds. You can approve the responses before they're visible in the topic. So what you'll do is you'll click Response Moderation. And then the students' videos would remain private and they're only viewable to you. Like even the other peers wouldn't get that. There's also launch fees, which is nice. So launch and then freeze, similar to like what we do in Blackboard, where you can start an assignment and then end an assignment by a specific date. You can add videos to your topic. So instead of writing out a prompt, you can actually just speak it to your students and record a video of yourself and attach it that way. So everything is video. You can attach any documents through Dropbox, Google Docs, OneNote, and then you would put the URL for that link in there. This is my favorite part. I like to do the stickers and drawings as a college teacher or a teacher that teaches GED students. I don't really get the opportunity to do fun things like I did when I taught junior high. So stickers and drawings and emoji reactions are nice touches. And then, yeah. So before we, for today, I'll just go through really quick. You create a new grid by clicking this button here. Name your grid. This gives you the option to do just via student IDs, via Microsoft or Google, school email, or PLCs in public. So this is if your students don't have Gmail or Microsoft emails, but our students do, which is really nice.
So, do we have to enter the list of student IDs?
You can either hand enter them or put them in via like an Excel document, like drag and drop those IDs.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can either add them individually or you can upload your CSV file. And I believe on the portal, when you go in to like do your midterm verification, there's an option to get your students' information as a CSV file. Does anyone know that's? I pulled it up and I got student ID numbers on there, so it's kind of nice. And then here's where you would create a new topic once you're inside the grid that you've created.
I keep interrupting. I'm sorry.
No.
So, if the student name and email is just if we want to notify them. Otherwise, I can just put a question, topic, whatever, and then just let them know they have to go to Flipgrid and record their presentation.
So no, they do have to sign up for an account, a Flipgrid account, using either Microsoft or Google. So they would use their Triton email or their Gmail.
So they individually have to sign up as well.
Correct.
And then how do they know, if I don't do this list with IDs, how do they know where and when to go?
Yeah, so once they sign up, you'll view this. So in your, this is your grid, which is like your classroom. You'll click flip code. Right here, and then it'll show up for students. So they would enter this specific code into their account. Okay. Questions?
Look up with Blackboard what you were saying, like you can use this with Blackboard.
Yeah, so you can embed, where is it? under share grid, right? You can share it with your class by doing, clicking copy embed code.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go into Blackboard, oh, I can't up here. But basically, you know when you create new content, like create new course materials, in the text section, there's a little thing that says HTML. If you click that and then click paste, it'll paste that embed code in there, so it'll be embedded into Blackboard.
So then, do they not have to sign, do they still have to have a login for Flipgrid in order to see it then? To like, if they click on that, it'll go right to that thing, or do they still have to create like an account and stuff?
If they click on that, I'm not sure. I believe it goes straight to your classroom, but it'll ask them to sign up. Because that's what it usually does with like the live version. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Okay, other questions? Well, thank you so much for sitting in today. This is my contact information if you have any further questions on Flipgrid or Quizlet, and you can go ahead and take a picture of it, or this again will be on the Blackboard for this CD.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
So I've actually never used Quizlet, but I've used Kahoot before. It's very similar.
It is, yeah.
Is there, do you know, is there like an advantage, like, do you just like this one better, or
I use them both.
use them both?
Yeah, I use it.
The Kahoot, like, they're not, they don't have to be teamed up. They can do it individually on their phone, which is what I usually use, which is nice.
Right. So I guess it depends on like my goal. If I want them to like team
Okay.
up,
Yeah.
then I'll have Quizlet.
Okay.
All right. There's stickers on the table. Grab some so I don't have to take any back. And make sure you guys sign in so you get the PD hours for it.
Thank you.
Thank you.